Kevin McCarthy's impeachment inquiry into President Biden is built on a slew of nothing but misleading claims and flat-out lies with no clear evidence of wrongdoing on the president's part. And tonight we actually want to set the record straight by debunking these claims one by one for you. Let's start with the Republican accusations against Biden for his alleged connection to his son Hunter's foreign consulting and investment work in Ukraine, China, and Kazakhstan. Well, this week, McCarthy claimed that, quote, President Biden lied to the American people about his knowledge of his family's foreign business dealings. Let's go back to 2020 to investigate that. During a presidential debate, then candidate Biden said Hunter did not earn money from his businesses in China while he was serving as vice president. And nearly 3 years later, we actually learned from Hunter Biden's court testimony that he had been paid in China, but it is unclear whether Joe Biden was actually aware that was the case. Because, as the president said during his 2020 campaign, he and his son never discussed his overseas business dealings. And Republicans haven't produced any evidence to the contrary. In fact, here's Kevin McCarthy's next flimsy claim.
Eyewitnesses have testified that the president joined on multiple phone calls and had multiple interactions. Dinners resulted in cars and millions of dollars into his son's business partners.
All right, so this summer, Hunter Biden's former business associate, Devon Archer, told the House Oversight Committee that Biden put his father on speakerphone during business meetings about 20 times, but never to talk business. Quote, as he described it, it was all casual conversation, niceties, the weather, what's going on. There wasn't a single conversation about any of the business dealings that Hunter had. Congressman Dan Goldman told reporters that after a closed-door meeting. Again, there is no public evidence that the president ever participated in business dealings with his son. No one else has corroborated that. Then there's the claim that payments totaling $20 million were directed to Biden's family members and their associates through shell companies. And there is some truth to this claim as it pertains to Biden's family and associates of the Bidens. But again, there's no evidence, once again, that Joe Biden received any money for that. Republicans also point to Hunter and his associates creating LLCs to accuse them of creating shell companies. But again, there's nothing inherently nefarious about simply creating LLCs. In fact, it is commonplace to create them when starting a new business. Take a listen to Kevin McCarthy again.
The Treasury Department alone has more than 150 transactions involving the Biden family and other business associates that were flagged as suspicious activity by U.S. banks.
Hunter and James Biden, the president's younger brother, have reportedly racked up at least 150 suspicious activity reports for their business transactions, but emphasis here is on reports. The sole existence of these reports is not hard evidence of wrongdoing, nor does it necessarily trigger an investigation. And Senate investigators and the Justice Department have reviewed these reports, and again, no criminal charges have ever resulted. Republicans have also said that as vice president, Joe Biden allegedly engaged in a bribery scheme with a foreign national. And this stems from a whistleblower allegation that the CEO of Burisma, which is that Ukrainian energy company on which Hunter served on the board, made two $5 million payments to the Bidens. Again, this claim was debunked by testimony from Hunter's former business associate, Devon Archer, who said that he was not aware of these payments. And what's more, a Burisma executive said in 2019 that no one at the company had ever been in contact with Joe Biden. And finally, there is the claim that you've probably heard about the most, that Hunter Biden has somehow received special treatment from the Justice Department. Well, this week, Hunter was charged with 2 counts related to false statements he made in purchasing a gun and a 3rd count of possessing a firearm while using a narcotic. And these charges stem from a 2018 allegation that Hunter Biden lied about his drug use on those gun applications. But as our friend Renato Mariotti explained in a column for Politico entitled Hunter Biden Got Exceptional Treatment, Especially Harsh, quote, until this week, I had never heard of a prosecution of anyone for possessing a firearm while addicted to a controlled substance. Mariotti says, according to the data, federal prosecutors charged over 12,000 cases involving a firearm last year alone. But the overwhelming majority of these cases involve the possession of a firearm by a felon. And these cases are usually a way to get felons with violent histories or gang involvement off the streets, which sounds nothing like Joe Biden's son. So if you take away anything from this, let it be this. Yes, Hunter Biden may have used his father's name and cachet to pursue business deals overseas, which may be distasteful, but so far it is far from illegal. And if you aren't a fan of Hunter Biden, I have some really good news for you. He's not running for president in 2024. He does not serve in the government, nor does he serve at the White House. Yet Republicans are trying to pin his actions on President Biden in a transparent attempt to distract from the very real criminal charges that the Republican frontrunner, Donald Trump, is facing, including obstruction of an official proceeding and ultimately plotting to overthrow this government. Rest assured, we on this show are not getting distracted.